IVM.
In 2019, you basically have two choices. You can either go for therapy or start your own podcast. I'm Natasha Malpani Oswal, and this is my personal diary. I wrote a very honest poetry book called Boundless this year, where I poured my deepest and darkest fears into the poems. I'll take you through some of my favorite poems and the secrets behind them in this podcast. We explore falling in love, the dark side of beauty, families, money, making room to make mistakes, heartbreak, and finding your own voice. Don't say I didn't warn you. It gets deep. This episode is about being an immigrant. Brown. I worked on my accent, flattened my well-rounded lilt, conscious of the boldness of my skin. For years, I lessened myself. For you, to fit in. I avoided those that looked like me, downplayed my roots. Now I'm one of you, but I miss the multicolored me. Immigrant. I don't fit into your neat little boxes of class, status. You struggle to place me in your well-rounded circles. For once, my hometown, school, family name do not resonate. Am I wild? Can I be tamed? Silently, I enjoy your polite discomfort. I choose to remain anonymous. I won't play, but I am well-versed in this game. When I first moved to the UK 10 years ago, I was so conscious of my accent. For some reason, I was more struck by accents than the very different skin colors, weather patterns, or food, or even the content of what people were saying. For the first year, I spent more time listening than talking, just so I could learn how to flatten my voice. My lilt. I don't know if you've noticed, but Indian accents go up and down. They're more sing-songy than foreign ones. So I learned to speak more slowly and clearly and flatten my voice. And I did learn. I'm pretty tone deaf. I never really learned how to speak in a UK accent, or I would do one for you right now. But I did develop a pretty global one. And over time, people couldn't really tell where I was from. But then, also, as I learned to fit in, I didn't just learn to flatten my voice. I distanced myself from my roots and my background. In my eagerness to fit in with people from all over the world, I'd started talking less and less about where I came from and more about who I wanted to be. People started asking me where I was from all the time. Was I Mexican? Latin? I diluted my Indianness. This had its advantages. I integrated with people from all over the world more easily. And most of my closest friends ended up being European. But I also ended up distancing myself from other Indians. I regret that now. I wish I could have seen then that the people I loved would have loved me, even if I hadn't tried so hard to adapt to them. I could have, and should have, let them adapt to me a little more. I grew to see London more as home than Bombay at that time, because my formative years were there. But I'm so happy to be back in my old home now. I've missed the warmth of our voices and our relationships. I started to notice this when I first moved back to India and started working. I was a little stiff, a little foreign, but I saw how much of an effort others were willing to make with me. And I realized that I could easily have had that same situation abroad. I love being able to say ya, na, array. Being able to adapt is a gift. But don't forget to let people adapt to you. You'll get a better sense of the people who really love you for who you are if you let them choose to be around you when they see the real you. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to reach out to me, I am Natasha_Malpani on Twitter and at Natasha Malpani Oswal on Instagram. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Satyajit.
Hi, I'm Racheta.
We are from the Open Library Project and we host a podcast called Paperback.
Paperback is a podcast where we engage with stalwarts and experts from various industries, suggesting non-fiction titles that contributed to their journey in a big way.
We've had guests like Anjali Rana, Dr. Marcus Rani, Dr. Swati Lodha, Ambi Parmeswaran, Apurva Damani, and many more on our show Paperback. Find new episodes every Wednesday on IVM Podcast app, website, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Remember the last vacation you took? What about the one you took 3 years ago? Okay, how much do you really remember? It's a question I've asked myself often over a decade of traveling the world. Hey, I'm Utsav and I do not travel the world for a living. I have a full-time job and responsibilities, but I have made traveling the world a priority. Priority enough that I negotiate extra leave in my job contracts, obsessively track my frequent flyer miles, and I'm willing to take off at the sight of a cheap ticket. Yes, I am cheap. I have lived and worked in 3 countries. I understand human behavior for a living. And these experiences have given me unique insights into places, people, and culture. With over a decade of travel behind me, I increasingly realized one thing, that we cannot see everything. So whatever we see, we must see deeply. Because as the film of memory decays, the imprints which will stand the test of time are the ones felt by the immersion of the senses, not by fleeting encounters with them. Postcards from Nowhere is an immersion into the world of slow travel, one story at a time. Tune in every Thursday on the IVM Podcasts app, website, or wherever you get your podcast from.